Game 2. So, game 1, again, we've got both players playing random. In game 1, both were Zerg, and Cooper kind of managed to flex his Zerg macro skills and just get ahead in terms of workers, and then turn that economic advantage into just more units to ultimately win the game. But it was a good game. There was a lot of backward and forward. Both players were active in terms of trying to slow their opponents down, and both players didn't hesitate to macro up to get up to 3 bases, to get their tech going and such. So I want to see more games like that, please. This time Kupermeister Protoss, and I think he'd be the first to admit that Zerg is definitely the strongest race. So and that's it. I think he knows what he's doing. And from what I saw of RoyalBlu in the last game, RoyalBlu is no slouch at playing Zerg. But yeah, knowing that it's Protoss that you're up against, this pull first build could really pan out for you, because it can be difficult as Protoss to hold against early lane pressure. And for that reason, Kupermeister, rather than going for an early Nexus, has gone for just essentially a complete wall off and a very early Zealot, not taking any chances whatsoever. Now, he did scout and he saw that it was pulled first, so I think this is just perfect. This is absolutely the right decision. Maybe there's an argument for get the side core down, certainly, start a Zealot build in and drop your Nexus, but keep a worker on hand ready to drop another building if you see the lings coming, and your scouting worker, keep it patrolling to check for lings coming early. But that's kind of, I'm being a bit hypercritical. This wall, I appreciate it's turned out he didn't need it. There weren't early lings, but I've lost too many games to somebody just leaning on the Z button early and doing nothing clever whatsoever and just catching you out. So yeah, this is absolutely the correct way to play when you've seen somebody go pull first. Any lings turn up, and this wall, it's just like, yeah, that's it. That's, you've got to remember that in the event that 12 lings turn up here, that's 6 drones that your opponent hasn't built. And if you went across the map to get some harass done at a cost of maybe building something that cost you 150, 250, if you got 6 lings killed with that, 6 workers killed with that, you'd be pretty pleased and you would call that a success. So you're not going to change the Overlord down with that Observer. Instead, he's sending the Observer right the way across the map. In fact, gets the Overlord, so a little bit careless from RoyalBlu not to get that Overlord back into the safety zone above this structure. Generally, once you get them up here, you leave them on hold. And yeah, if the Protoss gets out, an Observer gets out, whatever, they are going to be able to snipe that, but they do have to keep the Observer in situ. So Kupermeister's going to park this up. He sees these roaches moving across the map, and it's not a small amount of roaches. I really need there to be Ravagers in the mix with this, because there is an Immortal here, and you need to be able to zone this out. Now, these Zealots don't have charge, so with that in mind, the roaches can get a lot done against those Zealots just bouncing backward and forward. But I just think there's far too much Protoss here that's able to deal with this, with 2 Immortals now in the mix. So yeah, you can chip away at these Zealots, but these Immortals just put out so much damage. That's why Ravagers are such an important addition to this. This slow zone, you don't want to get caught in that. Ravagers just mean you can drop those corrosive bars and free Immortal, yes please. Let's say free. Now that charge is done, these roaches just need to run. They need to get out of there. RoyalBlu microing away, getting as much value as he can from those, and I'm here for it, but it's going to be a difficult fight to take. Now, that has thinned out Kupermeister's army significantly. Now that all the Zealots are gone, he definitely cannot fight this on creep. That would be a mistake. In addition to that, there are Mutalisks in production. So how many are we going to see? Because I'll tell you what, as the Protoss base goes, this is wide open for Mutalisks to come in. I don't believe there's blink, there isn't, so the Mutalisks can have an absolute field day here. This is going to make this game very, very difficult for Cooper indeed. The only thing he's got to defend this with is this handful of Stalkers, and they don't have blink. So these Mutalisks can just dance backward and forth. I'm surprised he flew away that way. When there's all of this open air over here, you can just dance around the back and get back down to the natural, back up to the men, always getting work done with those. So coming in again and just sniping workers left and right. There you go, 16 workers dead already from these Mutalisks, and Kupermeister is everywhere. You know, army completely out of position. If ever there was a time the Mutalisks were going to come back in, it's right now, and they do. And the fastest thing, of course, is these Zealots that can do nothing against this. Once the workers start to die running away in a line like that, they die quickly, and my goodness, this is really ramping up. 28 dead workers. Let's have a look at what he's left with here. Worker supply down to 28 for Coop. He has got this Expo, and that's great, but my goodness, this, you know, the forge is finished. There is a cannon here. I'd love to see some shield batteries, and I'd love to see Kupermeister, more than anything else, split this army up so that he is leaving some... Oh, you need to pull back onto creep. You don't want to fight off creep, RoyalBlu. On the creep, on the creep. Yeah, there should be enough to take this. He may have to pull the mutants home, and that will be an inefficient trade. The roaches are pretty inefficient against these immortals. That is the way to do it, though. Trigger the shields on the immortals and then run, and then go back in once the shields are, you know, that weird barrier shield that the immortals have. But he can send the mutants on top of this now and just kill it, surely, can't he? There's 7 Mutalisks here, like that. Yeah, it's GG. You know, just, yeah. Yeah, so what I would have loved to have seen from Kupermeister, he had a lot of gateways. You know, why not section out, like leave 6 Stalkers here and with a shield battery, that's fine, and leave, you know, leave a few here and leave a few here. But instead, he was pulling the whole army sort of from side to side, and he was just getting picked apart. The Zealots aren't helping you see off the Mutalisks, so why drag them up in here? All they do is get in the way of your other units. Leave the Zealots down here so that if the roaches run in or whatever, you're defended against that as well. So Coop, you know, maybe the inexperience with Protoss showing, didn't really split his army appropriately to deal with that. Mutalisks can be very, very irritating, and you do have to split in order to deal with them. You know, they're very Mutalisks are light, and they die pretty quickly to Stalkers and pretty much to anything unless their numbers are huge. So you don't need a lot of army, you just need to buy time. You know, 6 Stalkers buys you enough time to get the rest of your Stalkers there, so the Mutalisks can't really risk standing and fight. Anyway, it's one game apiece. GG.